Here at the cafe, we're really known for our patisserie. One of our essential recipes here at the cafe is our short crust pastry. Now this recipe is really versatile, really simple, you've really got to try it for yourself, but before I show you, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Alright, let's make some pastry. This is a recipe I've been working on for many years and has never let me down. So if you follow this simple step-by-step guide, I'm sure you'll get pastry perfection at home for yourself.
Okay, so to begin with, I've got in this bowl 500 grams of pastry flour. Now if you can't get hold of pastry flour, just use plain flour. The main difference between the two is pastry flour has a lower content of protein, and that basically means once it's baked you just get a bit of a better structure.
So to the flour, I've got 300 grams of diced unsalted butter, and I'm going to add that into the flour. And the butter does need to be really cold for this, otherwise it won't work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rub it between my fingers. Now the way that I do it, it's almost like a kind of clicking fingers kind of motion, but you're just rubbing the butter into the flour. And the stage you want it to come to is to a breadcrumb-like stage. I'm doing this by hand, but if you've got a food processor or a stand mixer, by all means use that. I prefer doing it by hand because it gives you more control. Right, so as you can see, all of the butter is now been distributed through the flour and it's made this nice breadcrumb consistency, and it's got no big clumps of butter. So it's at this stage I'm going to add a good pinch of salt into the pastry. I'm just going to give that a nice little fold through. To this flour, I'm going to be adding 110 millilitres of cold water. Everything in this recipe needs to be cold, otherwise you run the risk of heating up the flour. By doing that, you'll heat up the gluten within the flour, which will then make your pastry really tough. So, to this water, I'm going to be adding 1 whole egg. Once the egg and water are combined, you then want to pop it straight in, and you're going to pour all of that mixture straight into the flour mix. And then I'm going to start by using a spoon just to incorporate all of that together. Once it starts to come together, I'm then going to use my hand just to make it into a ball. So now the pastry is starting to come together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lightly sprinkle some flour onto the surface, and then I'm just going to use my hand just to finish this dough off. Key thing with this is you don't want to overwork it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly just make sure it's all pressed together nicely, and you'll end up with a nice smooth ball of dough. Right, now I've got my dough ball made, and as you can see, this is perfect pastry. It's not too sticky, it's not too dry, it's just spot on, perfect. Now the pastry is at this stage, I'm going to be cling filming it and leaving it in the fridge for a minimum of 15 minutes. Alternatively, you can pop this in the freezer and it will keep for up to 3 months. Join me on my next video where I'll be utilising this pastry to make our delicious quiches. Until then, stay safe and I'll see you next time.